right before Christmas. So we'll get him back on the 9th of January 2020. 2020, by the way, is interesting because it's me in clear sight. So we hope to have Greg Ford on, our intel agent, back when we get back here in a second. Here, do we have Greg? You got left a message. Okay, let's see who else we might be able to bring on. That if he's not available, I know who will get it back on the program. Let's bring on John W. Spring if he's available. Now, John's not always easy to get, and we are close to actually making a breakthrough with John. I'm going to give you both his cell number and his other number too, Tomas. Again, this is what happens when you're around the holidays. People kind of their schedule and their life becomes fragmented, right? And people blow up. But I'm going to actually have an interesting dialogue for you today. What I'm going to do is get into wellness protocols and geopolitical issues and what's coming up next year in the news. In fact, one of my favorite things is after the show today, I'll be doing a review of the news on Epic Times, which is my favorite now, better than I think even the Drudge. I'll cover some Drudge articles because there's a minority of them that are good. A lot of them are kind of silly or garbage now. Or they're leftist, which I think is really disgusting because leftism, communism, socialism is godless and it's dangerous. So let's get into that. So we have John W. Spring. We'll try to see and keep on trying Greg for it because he's good. Let's see. Oh, I know who we might. Let's see what else. Okay. Oh, I know who we might want to come back on the program. Although she had a comment with Susan Lindauer. And Susan actually released information that she thought she shouldn't release because it was going to cause lots of grief for gathering all these trillions of dollars of money. And I'll give you both her phone number, but the way to connect her is actually on her Skype, so you'll see that, Tomas. 3. And we have her Skype address too. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, good. So, first off, let's continue with some of our protocols and what's happening in terms of the wellness. Number one, NutriMedical is going to do some minor changes. I've decided to, because I'm getting more and more feedback from people that like this, I'm deciding to make most of my consults back to you, which is basically advice on the starter protocol, free. And I also give you my cell number if you need to contact me if it's urgent. And spread the word to your friends. I mean, they can get some free starter protocols, which means if you have a minor health issue or something that needs to have some help, and even if you're doing conventional therapy for cancer, if you take our nutraceuticals for cancer at the starting first level, you increase your chances of survival and not having complications. But ideally, I don't recommend regular chemotherapy. Now, one of the things that I'm doing now, actually, I might give you a number, is Dr. Dan Royal. Dr. Royal is actually one of my I've been working on last year to kind of bring on Dr. Royal, and I'll see if he's available. I'll give you his number as well, because he would be a really good guest to talk about now, because we're doing some innovative stuff that's important for people to understand what's going on here. Let's see if we can get Dr. Dan Royal. Dr. Dan. He's a DO doctor that does alternative care. He's he's also a JD, so the head of the native board here, with Turtle Band Clinic, and natural medicine, which means he's not going to be under the same scrutiny as the knucklehead medical boards. And they're usually populated by people who are uneducated in areas where they're supposed to supervise. For example, I was studying to be an interventional pain specialist in Colorado under Dr. Holland Brewer. I was working on the Anschutz Center in Aurora, Colorado, part of the University of Colorado. I was also a preceptor for medical students and residents coming to my office to learn how to do medicine better. And the knuckleheads there wanted to discipline me for a patient that killed himself with illegal drugs that he got from his own illegal drugs. They were positive in his toxicology, and drugs he got from the university. It wasn't even my patient because I discharged him when he came back with a positive test. But because these people are idiots, and of course, and the same thing, they didn't want me releasing information on Superfund sites like the toxic radioactive parts of the Bow River, of the rivers there, and also the toxic Superfund site and the classified information of the Schriever Air Force Base, which is in Falcon, Colorado. And they would make stupid comments like, are you praying with your terminal patients? I said, yeah, they're dying. It's a good idea to pray with them. And, well, you really shouldn't. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You shouldn't pray with terminal patients? So we got to understand that the medical board don't want simpler or triple treatments that are actually going to be less invasive or reduce the drugs. They just want to be able to do procedures and make a lot of money. And they try to control their market. So even one group of, say, orthopedic or neurosurgeons will compete against another group because one has more connections in the board than their colleagues. We got Dr. Royal? Wonderful. Okay. Dr. Royal, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, things turn out this way. It's really cool. My guest who's supposed to be in New Zealand, Dr. Jonathan Gray, our ancient archaeologist, couldn't make it. His wife said, he left an hour ago and forgot. I said, well, then I tried a couple other people and said, I should be bringing on Dr. Royal. Now I'll explain why I'm bringing you on, okay? And I'm starting, I did my due diligence over the last year to check you out, because how did I get to know you? Who was it? So which doctor was it through that I got an acquaintance with you?
Probably True Art, but we also have Ron Klatz, Dr. Ron Klatz with the American Academy Anti-Aging in common.
Yeah, Dr. Klatz has been a friend of mine for over 12 years, okay? I mean, brilliant guy. He's the founder of the A4M. Now, I'll tell you what I've been doing, okay? And, of course, I've been at this for a very long time. You're a brilliant guy. I mean, I started to really realize just how smart you are when I realized the kind of stuff you're doing. When you got a hold of, for example, Truott, who's another brilliant guy, but, he does things in a little way that can actually get him into trouble, because years ago, when he was bringing out the first of the violet ray machines, they actually put him in jail over it. You know that, right? Because he's creating a technology.
Yeah, I know that they were trying to file criminal charges, and his attorney wanted him to make a plea, and he didn't do it because he said he was innocent, and miraculously he was able to escape all of that. The problem is when they come into your office with their seizure laws, whether you're innocent or not, they can take everything and keep it, like pirates.
Well, yeah, they can take your computers, or if you have an office with equipment, they can grab your equipment. Now, here's what I do. Now, most of the time, I just give advice, and they pass a law. I know the guys in Arizona that actually passed this law like 40 years ago in California. Anybody, like a kid that sells vitamins in a vitamin store, can give advice of what vitamins to take for a different health problem. But What I want to do is I want to be able to do more advanced stuff. I want to network with people like you, because I don't want to have a clinic with nurses and doctors and people injecting and doing stuff. I want to be able to help them review their case, whether it's medical, legal, regular, and then network with people like you. They can do the stem cell therapy or the IPT cancer therapy, right? And so that's important, because to me, I got this repository of knowledge. I mean, I graduated from medical school 43 years ago. And I've done everything. I was boarded in family and internal medicine, worked in the burn unit, trauma unit, intensive care, trained in biological terrorism, radiological terrorism, worked in alternative medicine, because I was a charter member of Greenpeace and an environmentalist with a PhD in oceanography and genetics 47 years ago, before I even went into medicine. And so I would ask more questions to all of my colleagues. And so I was an environmentalist before the American Academy of Environmental Medicine Clinic was set up by Dr. William Ray in the 70s.
Okay.
I was an environmentalist. I was doing work on anti-aging in medical school even before I graduated in 1980. So I started working with chiropractors and other people. And then when I worked in Alberta, the Alberta College said, "You're working in an association." I said, "What do you mean? I don't have what do you mean association? You work with Dr. Murray Vimy." I said, "Murray Vimy, he's a dentist." I said, "There's no dentist in my office." "Well, you work with him." I said, "What do you mean?" I gave him equations on how to calculate the total body burden of mercury. And he was in his own office measuring with a microvoltmeter and a mercury vapor meter to actually measure mercury. So he was working on a science doctorate at the University of Calgary, and I gave him equations and data. So they were going to discipline me for that. Give you an example of how crazy this is, okay? Then I had in my office, and of course I had to be under the cover, for 7 years I had Dr. Stu Donaldson. Now, Stu Donaldson was doing postdoctoral fellowship research on electromyography. So we had a machine that was actually measured 12 electrodes along the spine, and we developed new theories of what causes pain and muscle imbalances that causes things like chiropractic subluxations and spina bifida and other spinal problems like curved spines and so on, and what causes pain. And I added my research. Actually, I was one of the team doctors for the Calgary Flames 40 years ago. And in fact, the owner of the Calgary Flames was actually investing in my office. He wanted to bring me some equipment. He thought you're an innovative doctor, so he got me pulse magnetic field machines from Europe. So I had these big drum machines around him, and I remember one time I had a firefighter. This is 40 years ago. And he put the drum around him, and I put him on a TENS machine because I figured it might help to speed up if I had both machines running at the same time. And after about 10, 12 treatments, he says, "Thanks a lot, Bill, I'm all better." I said, "What do you mean?" Because I brought him down to the basement where we had our x-ray machines in our office, a real nice office in Calgary. And his bone spurs disappeared. I said, "What the heck?" So out of the research I had, one of my patients was a PhD electrical engineer, so we decided to make a black box with the frequency switches so I would try to figure what was going on. And we broke the code after 6 months, and out of that I built a machine called a Dynatens. Now, my Dynatens I'm going to repatent. Now, that was patented in 1986. That's 34 years ago. And the first lecture I did on quantum biophysics was 38 years ago, 1982, to a panel of biophysicists, Dr. Stanley Rowlands, and the biophysical department at the University of Calgary, and 40-plus scientists and triple-boarded doctors. So I have a background in quantum nuclear physics and biophysics that goes back almost 40 years. And every time I've done something, even if it's scientifically based, like, for example, I worked with Dr. Jim Hedgecock in the late 90s. Jim Hedgecock was the head of Dean of Chiropractic at Pasadena College, and he decided to do in the early 90s a PhD in physiology, and by 97 he had a subjective way of mapping A delta and C fibers, but it was subjective. You put a little microelectrode with a gold thing on, and you could actually map out the A delta and C fibers, but it was subjective. So what I did is I actually made it objective because I figured out a way of measuring at the base of the skull the recruiting of spinal thalamic tracts to your brain. So between the two of us, we founded the American Sensory Medical Association. Now I was mapping pain out for the main pain clinics in Colorado, the one in Fort Collins, the main ones in Denver, and Colorado Springs. And guess what? I was training at the same time at the Anschutz Center with Dr. Holland Brewer in the operating room, putting in spinal pumps and simulator, ready to go off and do the boards as a board-certified interventional pain surgeon, putting in spinal pumps and simulators. And instead, because I had about a couple dozen pain patients, they decided to persecute Deagle, okay? Now, what I was doing is scientifically based, because I was telling these pain clinics, here's where you do a transforaminal block or or facet block under C-arm guidance and so on. And they were getting amazing effects. These are the top pain clinics in Colorado, and other ones were coming from around the country, sending me patients to do a nerve mapping. Now, we train doctors now. The last time I trained was in 2003 in San Francisco with the board. We have a board now, and we have doctors we train all over the world to do A delta and C fiber. You go to axonpain.com. But I belonged for years with the American Thermology Association as well, the American Academy of Environmental Medicine. 40 years ago, I did research with Dr. Vojadani and Chung at UCLA. They're working on a postdoctoral fellowship. And the board called and threatened me and said, "You're doing research." I said, "Yeah, I'm sending bloods to Los Angeles, UCLA. That's all we're doing, bloods, no treatment."
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritional nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
Legacy Emergency Foods is the top recommendation from Dr. Bill Deagle for the lowest oxygen concentration, the largest entrees, the highest amount of protein, the most varied entrees as well, and the longest food storage life. Nothing like Legacy Emergency Foods, and if you place a regular monthly order, you get 20% off and free shipping. Do get Emergency Foods for your supply for preparation, and get it from Legacy Foods. Contact Dr. Bill Deagle for the link at NutriMedical.com. Go to the Shop by Products link and drop down message at NutriMedical.com, and then place your orders for regular emergency food for yourself and your family. Nothing like emergency food if the power goes out and you can't go to grocery stores, or if there's an emergency or a national crisis. So NutriMedical.com, top recommendation, Legacy Foods. NutriMedical.com, go to the Shop by Products and drop down menu, and stay well with NutriMedical every day of your life. Lumen photon therapy, infrared light, far and near infrared, is extremely important for pain control, stimulation of nitric oxide, improved perfusion, and stem cell activation and reduction of cytokines. Dr. Bill uses it for pain control, for regeneration techniques, for organ regeneration, and for stimulation of your stem cell activity. This amazing lumen photon therapy this year will probably have an additional device with frequency therapy during the on phase of the lights. To obtain a lumen photon machine, contact Dr. Bill at NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. He'll prescribe it with the providing nutraceuticals to help with your regeneration, healing, and pain control. Nothing like the lumen photon therapy for easy therapy for your eyes, your pain, your joints, regeneration of organs, detoxification of the body. Get a lumen photon machine from Dr. Bill Deagle, NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. Stay well with NutriMedical. The Sonic Life Machine is one of the most amazing therapies that Dr. Bill provides. It is the best sine wave exercise machine on the planet, doing whole body vibration, opening up the muscle to reduce insulin resistance, improve perfusion, release stem cell therapies throughout the body, and epigenetically stimulate the body to release DNA activated. The epigenetic therapy with the sine wave curve of frequencies given for atomic resonance, but Linus Pauling for minerals and amino acids stimulates the production of messenger RNA to correct structural protein enzyme deficiency for almost every illness. There's nothing like the sine wave therapy for improving body healing for exercise, but also the epigenetic treatments Dr. Bill can provide can help neutralize frequencies for disease states and illness. Get a Sonic Life machine through Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical.com. Contact us at NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871, or go to the website NutriMedical and give us a contact. Dr. Bill is available to help you get well with NutriMedical.
Need a powerful ally to fight daily bugs and serious pathogens? Allicin Med is the powerful universal pathogen killer's latest advance of German-sourced allicin, enzymatically stabilized to clear the body of bacteria, fungi, mycobacteria, and parasites. It penetrates body biofilms and is non-toxic to tissues. Pathogen resistance cannot develop for long-term body-optimized wellness. Clear stealth pathogens that promote autoimmune disease, cancer, and vascular inflammation and plaque and promote healing of tissues. Now pathogen-free. With 200 milligrams more power than prior Alamed, you can't get a more powerful ally to fight daily bugs and serious pathogens. Give your body what it needs. Allicin Med. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutridyne at 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. That's 1-888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. And listen to the NutriMedical Report on the Genesis Radio Network with open lines every weekday. NutriMedical.com, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
Chicago is in Italian. Showing a little stories here to Dr. Royal. Dr. Royal, you've had your run-ins with the so-called knuckleheads of the establishment. And again, I see that in the political realm. I see it in the religious realm. I see it in the health realm. And the health realm, by the way, healthcare in America makes more money than all the next 5 industries on the entire planet, even though we're only 4% of the population. It's disgusting. And we don't rate as number 1 in healthcare, by the way. And socialist countries, even that are doing a really crappy job, do better than us on average, don't they?
Yes, they do.
But they don't.
We're
they don't support,
probably number 48 right now.
Right. And by the way, we don't even support innovative care. Now, in socialist countries like Canada, they don't support innovative care, but they do in Australia. If you're an Aussie doctor and you're doing innovative care, they support you, whether you're giving, Red Deer Velvet or you're doing something else to try to improve growth hormone and so on. They don't persecute you, but even in socialist countries in Europe, they support innovative care, don't they? They don't in Canada. In fact,
to some degree, I remember years ago I worked with a physician in Salzburg, Austria, and 90% of his patients were the government required that he had to see. But then they'll see some private patients, which may be 10% of their practice.
Right, exactly. Now, the thing that I would like to do right now, which I want to expand on, is I want to network with more doctors like you in other countries, because what I'm doing is get more and more requests from people all over the world. I get doctors who want me to train them in Santiago or Stuttgart, Germany, or even Tokyo. And I tell people, I'm not going to charge you a cent to train you. I say, you're kidding. Like I hear other alternative clinics, like one of the companies that I heard of here in America, just train them on basic functional medicine. It's like $10,000. I said, I'm not going to ask for a cent. But I will charge for my time at $150 per half hour, do a telemedicine review of the chart, the imaging, and the other things to tell you how the pathways to learn how to do functional medicine. It's see one, do one. Like an apprenticeship, like you're a good welder or whatever, right? And I want to convey my knowledge I've accumulated over 45 years of being curious. I've worked at almost all the advanced functional medicine labs in North America, all of them. I've been there before anybody. Genova Labs, Doctors Data, all these guys for decades, right? EL Labs in Los Angeles, and even university labs. For example, I was doing work when I was in practice back in 1980 at the University of South Florida, measuring anti-islet cell antibodies with the head of diabetic research there on all the relatives of someone who was a juvenile onset diabetic. And you know what? We discovered they all have antibodies. Their titer would take off when they got a major emotional stress or car accident or went through something very traumatic, right? And then if you'd use a drug called cyclosporine A to block that surge, and guess what? They wouldn't turn diabetic. We're using a chemo agent to make sure that the trauma of the infection or the trauma wouldn't turn them diabetic. And I was working with a pediatric diabetologist, a regular guy, okay? So people don't understand, if you don't ask questions, you can't advance the science of functional medicine. It's an art based on science, and that's what you do, is you've developed this native board. Now tell me about the native board, because 98% of what I do is free. I mean, I tell people, I'll call you back, I'll even give you my cell number. But there's a time when I want people to know that if they want me to review their records or their X-ray or MRI on telemedicine, or we want me to order test kits or network with people like you that can do treatment, because I don't want to do treatment. I don't want to have a big staff and all that stuff. I just want to use my knowledge to help connect people who are sick with people like you and other people that do IPT or therapy, like a good, functional massage therapist and so on, so they can do the treatment. And what I want to do is I want to actually get the word out through my media, because I'm really now a media hound. I've got my own radio network, CRN1. Now we just added on the main network of CRN, the biggest talk radio network station in America and probably the world. I have my own television network for years, 14 years now, up to the very top level at Vimeo, which took over a live stream. I have my own radio network in the UK. So my word's getting out, and I'm doing a lot of this advanced search engine optimization to get the truth out, because most of the information, even alternative information, is foolishness and blather, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You have to be able to determine what's real and what isn't. That's why I encourage doctors in our profession to put things into clinical studies, which we can do through the First Nation Medical Board. It has its own institutional research board.
Right, and it's got to be logical. In other words, there's got to be proper protocols, proper testing. People need to say, well, when you did your stuff, Deagle, and you got in trouble, was there validation? Yeah, the technology was already FDA approved in '97 with nerve mapping. I did a study for the Department of Motor Vehicles for Colorado for repetitive motion injuries, and I proved you could map out the nerves being entrapped by thoracic outlet syndrome, or carpal tunnel, or altered tunnel syndrome. And you're kidding, Deagle. I said, no, I did it for the Department of Motor Vehicles for the state of Colorado. What people don't understand is if you do these, you still get persecuted. If you're dealing with knucklehead medical boards, I was referring for a hyperbaric clinic. For example, we had hyperbarics they at the universities, like almost every university has a hyperbaric clinic. When I was in Halifax, Nova Scotia, we had it tied to the Navy. So we had lots of uses. But I found about 5 times as many conditions could be helped by hyperbarics. Autism, post-traumatic brain injury, dementia, peripheral neuropathy, diabetic vascular disease, all kinds of illnesses could be helped. And guess what the state of Colorado did? Because I was referring patients there, they persecuted me and my colleagues for referring people to this clinic. I mean, I'm fed up with the idea of state-run medical boards. In fact, one of the things I'm going to recommend to Trump, get rid of them. Have a national non-government board that handles it. It has to be based on the art and science of medicine and allow people to get alternate pathways. You can start off as a nurse or chiro and learn eventually how to do a surgical procedure if you certify. This idea that you have to fix somebody into a mold, to me, is ridiculous, isn't it? If they can learn the database information and prove they have the physical skill sets, if they were a medic in the military and now they're a general orthopedic surgeon, why not? What's the problem, right?
Correct.
Right. Why not? And by the way, if you haven't done a shoulder surgery in 10 or 20 years, maybe you need to spend a couple weekends so you know the latest procedures if you're an orthopedic surgeon, even if you're the head of the department. So it's a matter of catching people before they kill and maim people, but the really rich doctors that are connected to the boards, they get away with murder, right?
The number 3 cause of death in this country, 250,000 Americans dead every year from doctors and hospitals. Known fact.
Right. Yeah. I was dealing with a DO who was doing spinoplasties, and I was asked to do an IME back in 2000. And when I analyzed the guy, I said, oh my gosh, you're a paralyzed guy. You could get around Canadian crutches. And I happened to be doing the nerve mapping because I work with Dr. Hedgecock and developed this technology. So I found his nerves were dead. I said, oh my God, they must be hiding records. My nurse officer manager managed to get the records which are hiding that the surgeon put screws to the patient's nerve roots when he did the spinoplasty, which is a 14-hour procedure, 2 surgical teams. So when he got back my report, the surgeon called me up and threatened that he knew the president of the medical board and board members, and he was going to get my license pulled for doing an IME on him and indicating that he had screwed this patient up who is now paralyzed.
Wow.
So I called up the board and I said, board, what's going on here? Are you going to do something about this knucklehead who's threatening me? Oh, no, you don't have to respond yet. I said, you're kidding. Are you going to do something about this asshole? And they didn't. But 6 months later, a physiatrist in his office filed a complaint, and I had to respond to him about the same damn thing, about this guy that got paralyzed by this idiot who did a surgical procedure he didn't need to do, didn't prove there was spinal instability at all. There was no flexion extension MRI, which, by the way, I'm executively analyzed and trained in radiology. I got trained over 40 years ago how to read MRI scans even before any Canadian neurologists or neurosurgeons were doing that. I got trained in Tempe, Arizona. Okay, so what I asked them this, when the thing is that people need to understand, I'm sick and tired of being persecuted for being ahead of the crowd, and I want to help people like you to get this out, to realize that the medical system itself is its own worst enemy, just like the political system is its own worst enemy right now, right? Rhino Republicans and we call dinosaur Democrats, both bad.
So they have a vested interest to protect their turf. And they don't want anybody disturbing the established system.
Yeah.
And that's why alternative practitioners are targeted and persecuted, because they're making waves. They're making people not just managing their...
Well, in 1973, I finished my PhD research project in oceanography. I made the substrate, radioactive substrate of Chondrus crispus polysaccharides, isolated the Vibrio marinus, and made 10 million times more enzyme that converts seaweed into the most high-protein enzyme food in the world, making a 1 pound turn into 100 pounds of food in 1 week using an enzyme degrader. And I wrote the PhD into the statistical analysis of it. He said, my God, what did you do, Deagle? I said, I slept on the lab floor for 5 months. And he said, now, if you keep doing this, you're going to be a full tenured professor before you're 28. I was 21. He said, no, when I told him I have Dr. Robert Brown, who's, by the way, trained me to be a bioweaponeer. He worked in Bethesda on bioweapons for the U.S. government classified projects, so I'm also a bioweaponeer. And he said, now, if you go into medicine, you're going to find you're going to deal with serial killers, narcissists, egomaniacs, and predatory class humans. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, you're going to find out the hard way, Deagle. Boy, was he right. I can tell you, if someone has an MD or DO behind their name, and they don't have compassion for the people they're treating, they're 11 times more likely to be a serial killer, aren't they?
Good to know.
It's true. I mean, it's like, you're making that up, Deagle. I wish. Do you think I really want to wish to go into a profession where you're more likely, if you have a MD or DO, to be a serial killer of humans? I mean, people need to grasp this, that they get hardened by it, and some people don't have the emotional fortitude to become decent, compassionate humans, or even analyze problems to actually have the brains. You know, only about 2% of the medical profession have the brains to actually do a functional medical PhD. You know that? The rest of them are drug salesmen that know 12 procedures. You can train a very good monkey to do an orthopedic procedure. I did 40 total hips before I graduated medical school in 1977. And I remember coming out one day and talking to the patient, and they said, he did a beautiful stitch in my hip. He did a wonderful job at it, no pain at all. I said, yeah, he's a good surgeon. The surgeon was walking around the operating room listening to music and singing while I did the entire procedure. Okay? And they wanted me to go into orthopedic surgery. Said, Deagle, you've got hands, man. You're a great surgeon. I did 40 total hips, kicked the senior resident aside when I was in medical school. So
Wow.
What people need to understand is they don't want you to advance the science and art of medicine. They want you to kill people, maim them, and not let them live longer. In fact, the technology I have, like my Red Deer Velvet, I got the patent last July. First product in the world that preserves the biomolecules to allow your stem cells to have the building blocks. I have the U.S. patent on the first product that returns you to the fetal state where you don't age. I've developed technology with epigenetic frequency equations and technology to take the sonic life and other machines and actually generate epigenetic frequencies to turn on your genes to regenerate your body. I'm also working on pulling the frequency spectra of the peptides that Dr. Kavinson developed in the Russian Academy in St. Petersburg, and is now the head of the European Academy, so that I can actually regenerate solid organs like your hand and leg or whole legs. So the science that I'm developing in the next number of years will allow you to regrow limbs, regrow entire organs. And people do you think the medical profession wants that? Are you kidding? That's bad for business, right?
Yes, it is.
It's sickening. Makes me so angry that these guys want to persecute people like me that innovate. And even if we have solid science, it doesn't matter if you have labs and science and imaging. Who cares? You are a problem child, Deagle. I'm sick of it. And I'm going to be 68 in February, and I'm thinking, at the very least, I want to do is pass my information on to younger doctors. In fact, I got one of my doctors, Dr. Joe Elid, who's a hospitalist now. He said, I want you to mentor me, please. I have other doctors in Germany and Johannesburg, South Africa, and in Santiago, Chile, wanted me to teach them. I said, I'll teach you. I won't charge a cent. You're kidding, Deagle. I said, I'll charge for my time to do the record review, but beyond that, not a cent. They can't believe it.
Okay.
Right?
Well, we need more of that.
I'm not doing it because I want to be greedy or I want to be, get some notice in some big journal. Most of the journal articles are written by what we call blithering morons who want to just maintain their position as a tenured professor. They don't want to advance the science and art of medicine, do they?
No.
That's why your board is so important. And when we come back, I did too much talking. I want you to explain to the people about your board.
Okay.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria, from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
Red Deer Velvet DR is an amazing new product with a patent to preserve 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones, same as fetal life, where you don't age at all. The state of fetal life allows the 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones produced by the placenta to be supportive of the regeneration of tissues and organs, with maximum apoptosis, changing the tissue and organ structure of a fetus. That's why if fetal surgery is performed, there is no scar. Taking 2 to 3 capsules twice a day with oncomycin, myco-D2, provides an amazing support for regeneration of any tissue and organ in the body, and even advanced stem cell therapy support treatment. Do get NutriMedical's Red Deer Velvet DR from Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical.com, NutriMedical.com, 888-212-8871. Stay well and stay young with NutriMedical. Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M, of NutriMedical.com, and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com, that's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations to referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. At NutriMedical.com, we have the most amazing drinks with the best mouthfeel, highest quality bionutrient exposure to your body to heal and regenerate, and the most powerful persistence of nutrients to heal your body dramatically. We have Ageless, which makes you age less, which repairs your DNA, extends your telomeres, etc. We have Life Support that detoxes phase 2 detox pathways, glucuronidation, sulfation, and methylation pathway support. We have Glycemics that blocks the carbohydrate absorption and helps with diabetes or weight loss, and as well helps with people that are trying to build up muscle, using things like our special formulas from Dr. Wolf called Mega Muscles between meals along with Sports Energy Light. We have the amazing Nutri-Complete, the most complete red and greens drink in the world, with the best mouthfeel and flavor. You can often mix it too with Vitamin Mineral Mix, which is our fruit-flavored mixed power of vitamin minerals. Stay well with NutriMedical. Now, I did a lot of blathering there. I want you to kind of fill us in the board and why it's so important that we have a board that's not only native medicine but innovative. For example, one of the things that's amazing that you did right away after you talked to Truat is you got a QRS mat and a photon sound beam, and you measured actual cancer markers at real cancer marker labs like the Boston and New Jersey, and you proved that with a combination of those two therapies, you could make their cancer markers go away 2 to 4 weeks. It's like, whoa, I was surprised when I heard that. And that's just one of many therapies you do. For example, we got this young guy, Isaac Angulo. We're putting his GoFundMe page up, and he'll be calling back in. And once he gets the money, he's going to go and get a stem cell transplant by taking his own stem cells, and then having an anesthesiologist with you in Vegas to actually put him in spinal fluid, because research in Israel has already shown this can resurrect people with MS. They're already successful with it for 4 or 5 years. So the thing is, your cost is a fraction of what it would cost. He went down, unfortunately, without my advice, against my advice, to Central America, and he got a umbilical cord transplant without any kind of support of all the nutrients he needs to take, so his stem cells would take. If you don't have the building blocks like Field of Dreams, it's not going to happen, right? And
yes.
It didn't do a damn thing for him. So he wasted like $25,000 and travel and all the other things. And I'm telling people, I'm here to network. That's why I'm sending him to you. I'll send other people to IPT clinics like Dr. Winkler's or other people, and other types of alternative clinics for massage or whatever. But tell us about the board and what you do.
Well, the First Nation Board is designed initially to provide dual licensure positions around the country. I'm talking about MDs and DOs who need protection against their medical boards for using medical alternatives in their practice, which is a health-oriented approach as opposed to disease management. But there's also many practitioners around the country that have no board. So, for example, the naturopaths are licensed in, let's say, 24 states around the country. They're not licensed in Nevada. They need a home as well.
Right.
So they can be protected
that was
from
the situation in
state.
Colorado, by the way. The naturopaths in Colorado had no licensing board. And what the medical board was doing is coming after naturopaths when nobody's qualified to review them and persecuting the hell out of them. Isn't that terrible?
Yes, it is, and it happens in every state in this country. All the medical boards are essentially alike. They are designed to be self-protective as opposed to being self-regulating. Everybody needs to stay in line. So the other thing that the board provides is the opportunity for these alternative practitioners to conduct clinical studies like I did recently, as you mentioned, using the combination of the photon sound beam and the QRS. We're doing a study with that now that has been very successful in lowering the cancer antibodies. One of the things we found interesting was it does seem to make a difference, the number of treatments, and you can do them fairly frequently. We had one patient that came in from Wisconsin. He had highly elevated cancer antibody levels. We did a treatment on him 3 times a day. Each treatment is about 24 minutes. And so over a period of a week, we did 20 treatments, and his cancer antibody levels returned to normal within a week. But the other study we did, we were looking at lowering the nagalase, which is the enzyme produced by cancer and virus to paralyze the immune system.
Right.
And we were using an oral product with that, and we're highly successful in doing it. But in the process, we discovered by serendipity that the combination of the photon sound beam and the QRS also lowers the nagalase. So we're looking at that in conjunction with the study we're currently doing. But the purpose of doing these types of clinical studies is it provides information we can use to make better informed healthcare decisions and share with each other. So if I have a protocol, I can share that with Dr. Deagle and 100 other doctors. Other doctors can sign on as co-investigators, and we can multiply our data that way.
Right. And get a significant amount of data. For example, one of the things I've discovered based on these equations and talking to Dr. Truott, getting the data from Dr. Linus Pauling, the frequency to knock out nagalase is 337 hertz. So we have the Sonic Life machine, for example, that I have the Adenic frequencies for all the mineral resonance for major and minor minerals. When I put the resonant frequency for nagalase, I can calculate out the resonant frequency for any pathogen in their body, too. So if you want to knock out nagalase, I can give you a resonant field of 37 hertz, and I have a resonant field generator. I've developed the technology here in my office to generate a field in your own home to suppress nagalase or a pathogen in your body, or stimulate your minerals, regulate every protein and every enzyme in your body. And if you don't have the mineral present or the resonant field present, or you have an E-toxin that's blocking it from electropollution, it blocks the production of messenger RNA for structural proteins and enzymes. People need to realize E-toxins are very deadly. 5G networks very deadly. Smart grid's very deadly. Electropollution is very deadly, and what it does is it shuts down the production of messenger RNA, so your body becomes protein and enzyme deficient, caused by E-toxins. The problem is we're racing ahead with lots of technology that's going to be lethal to not only us, but the entire biosphere. And we don't have people that are scientifically advanced enough to actually question these things and actually develop paradigms to actually measure it, right?
Correct.
So what I want to do is I want to foster forward new ideas so we can have groups of us together to say, we need to investigate this. For example, a lot of people are panicking. They have a gut feeling like 5G is bad. It's not just bad, it's lethal. Right? And
yeah, it's a problem. It's going to be a bigger problem each and every day we go forward in the future.
Well, give you an interesting fact. I found in the late 1980s, they had a conference in Ohio, and they had some geneticists do analysis of the phase 1 and phase 2 detox pathways, and they actually worked out the polymorphisms for a population of people. And so what the Japanese, when they attended, say, oh, we need to do that in Japan. Guess what? In Japan, on your health card, every single person, your DNA polymorphisms of phase 1 and phase 2 detox are all worked out. So if they give you a certain drug, they know that drug is going to take off in a rocket through your ceiling. I remember back in Georgia, back in 87, 88, I had patients that were on a histamine blocker, and that was through the same phase 2 detox pathway as a cardiac drug, so they developed heart block because their body couldn't detoxify both. And so we realized if you have two drugs or a drug in a natural molecule like just an antihistamine that works through the same phase 2 detox, your blood levels are going to go orbital and it can kill you. Or maybe you could go into permanent heart block, basically a cardiac arrest, your bradycardia and an arrest. So the thing is, in Japan they were smart enough. It's the law in Japan, but not in America. How many people have a health card knowing what their polymorphisms of phase 1 and phase 2 detox are? None.
None.
And when I talk to doctors, like I talked to a cardiologist last year about dual laser viscometry. Now, I had the only dual laser viscometer west of Harvard. I worked with a Harvard cardiologist late 1990s and early 2000s. And I had a dual laser viscometer get 5,000 data points in 5 minutes. I had specialists referring to patients, cardiologists, vascular surgeons, and so on, trying to find out why people were getting into trouble. Blood is not viscous because you've got an intrinsic and extrinsic pathway of your blood pathways, which is why these drugs are dangerous and stupid. Eliquis, Xarelto, low molecular weight heparin, or Coumadin, rat poison. It's due to blood viscometry. And you can use nattokinase and lumbrokinase from China to actually lower the viscometry of the blood and get rid of the free radical cytokines with things like curcumin. But guess what? You can measure someone's systolic and diastolic viscometry now. Has to get to the lab in Tutwiler and Meridian Valley labs by Monday. Anywhere in the world, if you can get it to them by Monday, they can test it and tell you what your blood viscometry is. Then do a lipid electrophoresis to tell you which fatty acids are going to kill you. So people think, well, cholesterol is lethal. No, it's not. I worked with Dr. Moskowitz in 1977 at the Vancouver General. He's a PhD biochemist and a cardiologist. And we measured hundreds of Eskimos in Northwest Territories, and they had cholesterols of 3,000 to 3,500. And not one of them got heart disease because they had seal flipper and narwhal blubber and a little poach on their belt. They didn't have white man's food. You know, this idea that cholesterol is lethal is idiotic, isn't it?
Yeah, cholesterol kills nobody, and we need cholesterol actually as an antioxidant. But it's also needed for all of your hormones in your body.
Yeah, in fact, I tell people, it's a happy castration. If you take an HMG CoRE reductase, bye-bye male or female hormones, bye-bye CoQ10. You're kidding, Nico.
Right,
I said, no, I'm not kidding. I said, you realize without LDL cholesterol, you can't make male hormones? No kidding. I wondered why. I had one guy a few months ago. He called me and said, Deagle, I heard your show, and 4 days after I started my HMG CoRE reductase, I couldn't get erections. I said, no problem. That's understandable. Did your doctor warn you that? No. But I heard you. I said, Deagle. I said, do you understand your doctor is like a lethal driver that's blind driving down a freeway at 100 miles an hour? They don't know what the hell they're doing. Honestly, they don't. People say, you're making that up. I said, why do you think when I do a medical legal review of a case, I never get an argument from the other side to video depot or fly me in to do the case? You know why? When I review the case, it's over. If there's a valid thing behind the case, whether it's to dispense a thing the doctor's okay, or there's something really bad that was done, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy.
We need more people like you.
Well, I'm an old guy now. Believe me, I've gone through living hell dealing with knucklehead doctors. Not funny. And my patience is gone. I see Dr. Dan Royal in your native born as a cure. It's not just the idea that Bernie Santa Claus or Elizabeth Lie called Liar-Watha Warren, instead of Hiawatha, I call her Liar-Watha, are going to cure it by making the socialized medicine, thinking they're going to give Canada. Look, I worked in the Canadian system. My mother was born in North Dakota, my father in Canada. Both of them were given lethal injections rather than contacting me. They contacted my brother to give them lethal injections when they get terminal health problems. If you're sick in Canada, they don't even go to committee, they just kill you. Here in America, the insurance carriers are getting away with murder. And there's 17 different states that allow the insurance carriers to give lethal advice that they're going to give you a lethal injection rather than a life extension to live an extra 5 months, 6 months, 20 months. They won't do life extension technology, even if it costs them money. They just want to say, well, your alternative is the lethal injection. And people are saying they want socialized medicine. Are they crazy? What's wrong with them? Right? It's like handing a knife over to a terrorist who wants to slit your throat and say, make sure the cut is nice and clean. It's like, are you kidding? And if you rely on the medical profession themselves to police themselves, forget it, right? What do you think, Dr. Dan?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the medical profession, you can't rely on just the average. Most of them are gutless. Well, 12, 13 years ago, I was in Phoenix, Arizona at a medical conference. And one of the doctors I was communicating with, giving us some free advice, said, Deagle, if I do what you say, I'll help patients, but they're going to pull my license. I said, what's more important? Helping patients so they don't die, or making more money and not having your license pulled?
Well, for a doctor to care, you have to start looking outside of the local labs, and that means you have to look at specialty labs all around the country. For example, if you send a patient to Mayo, they won't do anything that spends $1 outside of an institution, which means they will not look at real allergies. They won't look at heavy metal toxicity. They won't look at parasites. They won't look at any of the things that alternative doctors look at, because that's now outside the standard laboratory in their hospital. And so they have blinders on, and they're very limited. I've never seen anybody go to Mayo Clinic my entire career and get a diagnosis that anybody else couldn't get. Actually, what they're told is, we don't know what's wrong with you. So they get the $1 million workup with no answers, but the insurance paid for it.
Right.
So that's why the patients do it. That's why the doctors do it. But doctors who want to help people, they look in other places because they have to. You can't find everything you need from a local lab.
Well, and one of the tests that I do that's really advanced is I have a biophilia 2 quantum scanner developed in Russia and China. And these biophilia scanners can even direct what I do for blood tests and imaging studies like quantitative electroencephalography, MRI scans, SPECT blood flow scans of the brain or whatever. And these are scientifically valid radiological and blood tests at certified labs. But guess what? The regular medical profession, they haven't even heard of the test before, let alone know how to interpret it. It's disturbing, isn't it?
It is.
So I'm really proud of you, and I'm proud that I'm going to be joining your organization and helping people. But again, it'll be only a tiny minority, because only 1 or 2% want to actually proceed further. They just want free advice, which I'll give them. But, if they want to know how to do functional medicine, Dr. Bill's shop is open. Anywhere in the world, if you're listening, I'll train you. I'll even train your grandma to be a good functional medicine grandma. How's that?
Which was most important because